It's important that we have someone who's clearly in charge of the city. And it's important to sit there at the table as the mayor of San Diego. There's a lot of outward looking pieces of this job where you're there, sort of an ambassadorial role, right? Of being the personification of the city, and that's ribbon cuttings, that's groundbreakings, that's proclamations. There's the interpersonal pieces, working with department directors, working with council members, other elected officials, the city attorney, and those relationships are really important. And then lastly, there's just the day-to-day management of the city. And we have gone through a time where a lot of stuff was going wrong. But the interesting piece that I've learned is, in addition to all of that mess and trying to clean up what Bob Filler left behind, there's just the day-to-day mess of the things that happen in a big city. San Diegans should be looking for, in their next mayor, someone who is prepared to do this job. This is a very serious responsibility, and I think what I feel more than anything is, it's a position of having to say no more than saying yes, and that's really different than as a council member, where you're advocating perhaps a point of view or a project or whatever. That's, you're there on behalf of your constituency, your district. Hopefully you can take a citywide view, but ultimately you should be there advocating, in my case, for Hillcrest, for North Park, for downtown. In this situation, I have to look at it more globally, and that's a more difficult juggling act. I think some of my initial conversations, sometimes when people approach me, previously I would listen to hear for where they lived and make sure I steered them to the right council member, one of my colleagues. It's just legislative courtesy. Now I don't do that any longer, because I do have a responsibility, at least to everyone on a temporary basis, for the issues they would bring to me, right? Throughout the week, it is shift gears a lot. If it's in the morning, walking to the corner and someone stops me to, mention a pothole on University Avenue, I'm the District 3 council member. If it's chairing the council meeting, I'm the council president. If it's sitting at this table working on our convention center expansion, it's the mayor. And it requires some flexibility, some dexterity, but it's what's necessary, at least at this point in time, for the city.